997 or even on 0979-192-485 or on 0961-690-487. We're having a very interesting conversation as our guest this morning is from NAPSA, and that is the National Pension Scheme Authority. Our guest this morning is the Head of Corporate Affairs, Mr. Cephas Sinyangwe, and we're definitely going to have a very interesting conversation.
Indeed. And we are joined in the studio by Mr. Cephas Sinyangwe, the Head of Corporate Affairs at the National Pension Scheme Authority, NAPSA, the institution mandated to administer Zambia's national pension scheme and safeguard the social security interests of workers across the country. As Head of Corporate Affairs, Mr. Sinyangwe plays a critical role in shaping NAPSA's public communication, stakeholder engagement, corporate reputation and transparency agenda, with increasing public interest around pension reforms, benefit payments, compliance and investment strategies. His office stands at the center of ensuring that members are informed, protected and confident in the institution managing their retirement security. Now today on Voice of the People, we engage him on NAPSA's performance, reforms, public concerns and the future of social security in Zambia. Mr. Sinyangwe, welcome to the show.
Good morning and welcome to all our listeners and those who are streaming live.
Indeed. By asking you this question, what does your role as Head of Corporate Affairs at NAPSA entail on a day-to-day basis?
Wow, on a day-to-day basis, I do things like what I'm doing right now.
Yes.
Yeah, so basically I'm in charge of our corporate communications, media relations, events management, stakeholder engagement, and all that is about building and managing the authority's corporate reputation and public image, and also just making sure that the public, the members primarily, and all the stakeholders are aware of what is happening at NAPSA. Transparency and accountability are at the core of what we do as an institution, and so people need to understand what is it that we are up to at any given time, and so that is what I do on a daily basis.
Interesting. Now, how is NAPSA strengthening public trust and transparency in its operation?
All right, so first of all, I think you need to understand that as an institution we play a very, very important role in people's lives. We are basically standing in between poverty and dignity in this country for many people, and so we have to make sure that we are accountable at any given time, and that what we are doing, whatever we are doing, is an open book and people understand. And that's why every year we table our financials before Parliament. And once Parliament approves our financials, we table those at our national stakeholders, a forum which is an open forum where even you can actually stream live across the country on different platforms to just get to understand how the institution is performing. That is very important to us because the members must see what we are doing, and that's the only way that we can build trust. So transparency is very important. And also getting feedback from the members, where we listen to what the people are saying and look at what are we doing to meet the people's needs and expectations. Are they complaining about service? Are they complaining about the amount of benefits that they are getting, or the time it takes to do one or two things, or things like that? And then we go in and make sure that we address these challenges. Therefore, we have the reforms going on, we have a digitalization agenda, and a lot of things happening right now at NAPSA, just so that we can meet our clients' expectations and possibly exceed them. And that is the only way we can earn their trust, and that's the only way we can build the reputation of this institution, and that's the only way we can sustain this.
You did touch on the fact that NAPSA has got members. So for those who are listening, and rather, usually we hear about NAPSA giving a statement in the news, but how can one become a member of NAPSA? Let's go back to the basics.
Back to the basics, yes. So first of all, I think I just need to also underline why NAPSA exists before we even speak about
its mandate.
Its mandate. And this is very important, because some people think that NAPSA exists for old people. Yes. And you know, not many people think about what NAPSA does. As they are young and vibrant, they begin to know about NAPSA and think about NAPSA when now the years are going by, and but we are here to break that myth today, so that even the Gen Zs and the youth power know and understand that, whoa, they have to be interested in NAPSA even today. So the mandate of the institution is basically to provide income security to the people of this country, to the workers of this country. What does that mean? You and me, as we are working, we are earning a salary. We're earning allowances here and there. The company provides you with transport, provides you with medical insurance. The ladies, you're able to get your maternity. A lot of other things that come as a result of our work. Even when you are working, you have the energy, you're able to hustle around and be able to do certain things. But there comes a time when you have that energy. When you are old and you don't have that much energy, what happens? You are not. First of all, the company tells you, okay, Baba, we no longer need your services. We need the youth power with the new energy, the new ideas, and all that. What happens to you? Your salary cuts, your medical insurance cuts, and everything else that came with your work cuts. How much did you save? First of all, if you ask many people today how much they have in their savings account, we don't know. That's a personal question. But we know the reality. Okay? So, NAPSA comes in at a point where you need that income replacement. Basically, that's one of our key mandates. To make sure that either through death, your family doesn't suffer. If you get invalid, your family and yourself, you don't run completely out of cash. In case you grow old, you lose that income through whatever hustle you were doing, you don't completely run out. So NAPSA steps in to provide that income replacement. Okay? That's one of the mandates. The other mandate, through what we are doing to protect the people, we marshal resources and contribute to national development. How are we doing that? We will be able to break it down and so that people get to see what role NAPSA is playing in the people's lives and also just at national level in the economic development agenda. And so there and then comes the point to say, how does one become a member, like you've asked? There are two ways to become a member of NAPSA today. Number one, by virtue of your employment. When you are employed, your employer has a responsibility to register you with NAPSA and contribute for you to NAPSA. All right? That is a legal requirement. There are no discussions about it. And failure by any employer to register you as an employee with NAPSA and contribute for you is a serious offense. The employer can even be convicted for that offense. So if you are out there, you are working, and you don't see your deduction on your payslip, or you see a deduction on your payslip, but you don't receive a message on your phone to say money has been contributed to NAPSA for you by your employer, there are two things involved. Either your employer is not remitting, or you as a member have not updated your details with NAPSA so that you are able to receive the messages. So we need to check which one is which. If it's the employer not remitting, we'll come after them. And we don't want to actually come as soldiers or military. That's why we have a collaborative approach with employers. So employers out there, now here, let me bring it down. Because when somebody hears employer, they're thinking it's the government, it's the big institutions, the big corporates. Even if you are in the music industry, for example, you own a studio, and you have employed people to run that studio, those people are your employees. You are an employer. As long as there is an employer-employee relationship, it doesn't matter whether it's one person or two people. It doesn't matter. That one person, those two people, those three people must be registered with NAPSA. The one who has the responsibility in this case is the one who is calling himself the employer, or the one who releasing that money to pay for the services that have been rendered. That's one way. The other way is where you and me can actually register ourselves and contribute on our own as individuals. The obligation is upon you as an individual to contribute for yourself. under the informal. Currently, it's under the informal sector scheme, but we'll be talking about new products that are coming on board. Very interesting products that will be coming on board that will allow members to contribute for themselves, not necessarily under the informal sector, but even under the other products that we will be developing.
So I'd say, as somebody who's listening to what you've just said and doesn't really know much about NAPSA, then if I'm an employer, for example, I've got a house help, I've got a garden boy, must I remit for them?
Of course.
Oh my.
I make sure that on a monthly basis, I pay for my house help. And it doesn't matter. You know, people complain to say, no, but there is a very high turnover of our house helps. Today you have this one. They just work for 3 months and they go. It doesn't matter. You as an employer have an obligation to make sure that you register. Now, here's what will happen. You may not register them today, right? And they will go, and you wouldn't have remitted their contributions. But do you know what we are doing? We are also educating the house helps and the garden boys. We are telling them that you have a right to Social Security, and your employer is supposed to remit for you. If the employer doesn't remit for you, it doesn't matter if it's 20 years ago you worked. They'll come to NAPSA, they will register that complaint, and imagine how many penalties, or how much in terms of penalties you would have incurred over 5, 10, 15, 20 years of having not, because it's 10% per month cumulatively. So you don't want that. You don't want the penalties. So you just have to do the right thing today. Because here is what it is. Social Security is a human right. Okay? According to the UN Declaration of Human Rights, Social Security is a basic human right. You and me have on the government, on the treasury. So then there is a tier 1, which is a national basic social security scheme, which is NAPSA. Now, when you say national basic social security scheme, it provides you with the basic minimum. Okay? Forget now about the tier 0, which is government supported. This is now social insurance, where you, as a working member, contribute a token towards your pension. It's basically social insurance, right? And this is where NAPSA plays its part. It's there to make sure that come what may, you may have done so many investments, you may have done so much to protect yourself, but as you know, life happens. The tsunami of whatever kind happens. You lose everything. If you belong to NAPSA, the basic social security scheme, we make sure that you don't fall into total destitution by making sure that we provide that basic. That's a government program. According to our social security system, you are supposed to also have a second tier where you contribute to an occupational pension scheme. Now, an occupational pension scheme, this is now a system where employers come up with their own arrangement with a pension scheme or insurance company, and they contribute for the employees. That's the second tier. And then the third tier is where you now, as a member, come up with your own individual plan. So ideally, you are supposed to get your benefits from at least a 3-tier system. The basic scheme, which is NAPSA, the next scheme, the tier 2, and the tier 3. When you get income replacement from all these 3, ideally you should have about 80% income replacement in retirement. And if you have about 80% income replacement in retirement, your costs in retirement are supposed to be met within that amount. And so you should be able to live in retirement as if you have continued working. That is how the social security system in this country is structured. Okay? However, you find that currently some people only contribute to NAPSA or contribute only to the tier 2. And so that there you now begin to hear people complaining about inadequate benefits and all that, because they are not getting the benefits from the three tiers that they are supposed to be getting benefits from. And issue. So, at least, even if you don't get from the second, even if you don't get from the third, you should be able to get from the first, because that's your basic minimum. You have that right, and that's why NAPSA exists.
All right, now let's dive into a very important topic, and you did touch on an aspect of social security, of how it is very important. So what is social security for someone who's hearing of it, maybe for the first time, or they've been hearing their employer talking about social security, and how is the Zambian social security system structured?
All right, so social security basically are these programs that governments put in place to protect its citizens in different circumstances of life. Okay? There is contributory social security and non-contributory social security. There is social insurance and basically social protection. Social insurance, this is where you as a member contribute towards your own pension or towards your own social security benefits, whereas social protection programs are some of the programs I spoke to, for example, where they are government or tax financed.
Yes.
Now, let me bring it home this way. As people or as a human being, we go through a cycle, a life cycle, right? There's birth, there's childhood, there's youth and adulthood, and then you go down into until you pass on as a person, right? So as you go through these cycles, stages of life, rather, you have different needs at any different stage. You find that when you are born, you need under 5 care, right? Yes. The government under 5 care. To the woman who has given birth, the government provides maternity. Oh, the government has provided the laws that secure maternity benefits for the members. For those that are employed, the employer has an obligation to provide maternity benefit. Okay? I'll speak to the maternity benefit for those that are not employed, the self-employed. And then as a child is growing, they begin to go to school. You have heard about the government coming up with free education all the way up to grade 12. It's not a coincidence. This is a government taking the care of its people at every stage of life. Once you complete your education, you go to college, that's part of your education. You complete your college, you start working. It's expected that you start working and earning money. And working here, it's not about being employed. It's basically about you earning money. At this stage, you are now supposed to be able to contribute to your own social security protection, or social protection rather. Here, now you get other benefits that come in, okay, at this stage. You may get injured at work, or you may die, or you may grow old. So then you have these contingencies also being covered under Social Security. So you can see that at every stage there are contingencies that may occur where you need to be protected. You may become sick. There is maternity issue. There is supposed to be child support, for example. There is invalidity. There is injury and old age. All these are called Social Security contingencies, okay, that are supposed to be provided for by countries. But how many are taken care of by each country is dependent on the level of development of that country. You find that in developed countries, like the US, you have a very low unemployment rate, and they are able to provide unemployment benefits. In Zambia, we don't have unemployment benefits at the moment, because you can imagine if all the unemployed people had to get some sort of an allowance for unemployment. It's a huge cost. So in Zambia, we have domesticated at least certain contingencies. We are able to, as a country, there is health insurance, national health insurance. There is injury that is also covered. Then there is also survivors benefits. There are invalid benefits that are covered also, and old age. These contingencies are covered. We do not have the child support benefits, for example. Some countries, when you just have a child, you begin to get an allowance. Okay, as a way of supporting the child. We don't have that kind of arrangement. It is dependent on the level of development. I long to see one day a country where all the benefits will be provided. All the contingencies that are supposed to be covered, the 9 contingencies of Social Security, will be able to be covered. Okay, so that is basically what Social Security is about. It's taking care of you as a human being at different stages of life. That is what is expected under Social Security. And how our Social Security system is structured, I touched on that briefly, where we have a tier system where certain programs are tax financed by the government or donor funded, and then other programs like the NAPSA, the social security social insurance schemes like NAPSA, and the other state insurance, state pension schemes that are available, where you have to contribute. We are yet to have a mandatory occupational system. Currently, employers are at liberty to either come up with an occupational pension scheme or not. But this is also provided for in the structure of our national social security system.
Now
to our social protection policy.
Okay, you earlier on talked about membership, so maybe we can just take you back a little bit. How much do NAPSA members contribute, and what benefits does NAPSA pay?
Okay, so there are 2 ways. Like I mentioned, you can become a member either through the who registers you, and on a monthly basis makes that contributions on your behalf to NAPSA. It's their obligation. And there is also the other way, where you as a member contribute for yourself as and when you have the resources. So when in case of where there is an employer-employee relationship, the prescribed amount to pay towards NAPSA or rate is 5% of one's gross earnings. Now, 5% of one's gross earnings, subject to the ceiling, is what you, as a member, is expected to pay, and then the employer is also expected to match that 5% to make it 10%, and that is what is remitted to NAPSA. Now, let me explain a little more on the 5%. Let's say a person gets a salary of 10,000 kwacha. To make it 1,000. That is what will be remitted to NAPSA before the 10th of every month. That is a legal requirement. Now, there are people who are high earners, for example. If a person is getting 50,000, okay, 5% of 50,000, 5% of 50,000 is 2,500, right? Now, for purposes of NAPSA, there is a ceiling. Every year that ceiling is adjusted upwards. So for this year, for example, the ceiling, I think, is about 38,000 kwacha. So meaning, regardless of how much beyond 38,000 you get, we will only apply the 5% on the 38. So you get a situation where, for the people that are getting 38,000 and below, they will contribute the 5% of their monthly gross earnings. For those that are higher, they will contribute actually less, because you find that if a person, for example, is getting 100,000 kwacha per month, the 5% is 5,000 kwacha. But to NAPSA, they are not going to contribute 5,000. They are only going to contribute about 1,800. Okay? 1,900, somewhere, because of the ceiling. And why is the ceiling there? It's there because of the structure of NAPSA as a scheme. It is meant to provide for a basic pension, and so the contribution is managed at that level to provide for the corresponding level the member to have some money to contribute also to the occupational scheme, which is the second tier, and possibly to do a hustle here and there, a business or buy an insurance products where they're able to get a further benefit. And so that is how much a member is expected to contribute to NAPSA. It's 5%. It has been 5% ever since NAPSA was created in 2000, and it remains 5% today. What adjusts is the ceiling, so it only affects those that are higher, that are paid beyond the ceiling. So even when you hear to say NAPSA has adjusted the ceiling, some people think NAPSA has increased the contribution. NAPSA has not increased the contribution. The contribution rate remains 5%, and currently what adjusts is the top ceiling beyond which we apply or we don't apply the 5%. Now there is also another member who would join NAPSA on their own, and they want to contribute for themselves. For those, the contribution, I think the minimum contribution, if I'm not mistaken, is about 60 kwacha per month. And then you can contribute on a daily basis if you want towards that. You can contribute on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis, on a quarterly basis, or once a year, depending on how your income comes. For those people that are contributing for themselves, even the issue of penalties does not arise, because they're doing it voluntarily for themselves. Whereas for the employer, you pass the 10th deadline, there are penalties that come into play. Sure.
So we've heard of how now there's a partial withdrawal, which I believe gave people a sigh of relief that at least they can access some of their money. But we also did hear further yes, because it's a very important one. So walk us through that.
Excuse me. Before I speak about the partial withdrawal, there was a question I didn't touch, which was asked about the benefits that NAPSA pay.
Yes.
Because you know, when you're contributing, you ask yourself a question: why am I contributing? Now, first of all, here is an interesting thing. A lot of people contribute to NAPSA, but have not really been showing so much interest in their NAPSA account. I wonder why. Because here is what it is. That contribution that you are making to NAPSA is not a tax contribution. It's not a foregone conclusion. That's your money. That's your money you are putting aside for your retirement. You, as a member, must take it as and you must take the NAPSA account as a savings account. You are saving for your retirement, you are saving for that rainy day. In case you die, you are saving for your family. In case you get invalid, you get injured beyond the state where you can work, that money comes in to work for you. If in case you get old, you retire, that money comes in to work for you. So this is your savings account. It's a very, very important account.
We do have a caller on the line, so I'm just going to have to cut you short.
Hello. Good morning. You're live to Power Breakfast. Who are we speaking to?
Wanji.
Tawukabwina Wanji.
Miriam Kuchongwe.
Okay, but Miriam, go ahead with your contribution. Hello? Hello?
Miriam, can you hear us?
Okay, you can be part of the conversation. The numbers are 0955 997 997 or 0979 192485 or 0961 690 You can please carry on with your conversation.
All right. So, talking about the benefits.
Yes.
Why do you have to contribute? It's because ultimately that money is for you and it gives you prescribed benefits. Okay? Number one, if you retire, you are going to be, and you qualify for a monthly pension, you are going to be on that monthly pension for life. When we say for life, until you die. Doesn't matter whether that will take 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, or 40 years. You will continue receiving that monthly pension. And that monthly pension, which keeps on growing every year. In case when you are on pension, you die, that pension is transferred to your surviving spouse and eligible children. Now, eligible children here, we are speaking about children who are aged below 18, it's automatic. If they are aged above 18 up to 25, there must be evidence that they are in school. So if you are in college, you have the right to continue receiving your parents' pension until you complete college, until you reach 25. So now here is what is interesting. There are people today that I know who have gone to college on their father's pension. That is how important this pension is. And so if you retire and you don't meet the required threshold for you to be put on a monthly pension, which is 180 contributions, let's say you have 170, 160, 150, you'll be given a one-off lump sum payment. Okay. And that is it. But for us, as NAPSA, we were created with a purpose to provide that income replacement for life. And that is a constitutional provision. When you look at our constitution, the constitution provides for payment of a pension, okay, sustainably over a long time. So that is what we would like. But in case the person does not qualify,
okay,
then we give them one lump sum.
Sorry to cut you off short. We do have a caller. Hello, good morning. It's Yusuf Power Breakfast. Hello, good morning. Good morning. Who are we speaking to?
Crispin Momba Kuserenje.
Okay, Mr. Crispin, go ahead with your contribution or your question.
Vanene nzokunofunsa kuni nivazo na vijabako bati ngati usebenzera company, then company ngati system produce ma pay slip, then wanapsa balipe mpamvu zo konkaija company kwendo pinda napsa.
Oh, okay. Ndiye question yanu?
Ndiye question yanga, because neze naenda kunapsa nasenzera po company nango for 2 years, then inachitako chabe contribute for 4 months. Then wanaluza ati isetilipe mpamvu because company yako yanonzo senzera yako senzo chita produce ma pay slips.
Okay. Alright.
Ni atibakira kuti ba Maxwell?
Atiba watumira kuserenje.
Kuserenje, we have a station in Mukushi there nearby. That is very strange, Maxwell. It doesn't matter whether wami pasira drama paka window or wami pasira mu mobile money or kuli mapepa la mene munasaina or kulibe, as long as wami pasa salary. That is basis to say mudina contract now. That company and the mufunika, that company ifuniko mitengera drama ku NAPSA. So if your statement ya correct. And I'm surprised kumvera kunapsa kwa mene wanakamba so cause once wamene waziweza kunapsa waziva nkani yakuti it doesn't matter whether an employer is producing a payslip or giving you a payslip or not. Na ngubami pasa chabe cash pa table salary yako hii kulibe boss sign wavili vonse iyo ndia ni basis yo yakuti company ifuniko pereka 5% yanu na 5% ya company make it 10% no pereka kunapsa. So iyo nkani mufuniko kufika ku pamukushi office o kutumira chabe 677 our contact center toll free 677 so that mupase ma details yanu na company bakati follow up because that is wrong. But also this I would like to encourage our members. We have created a platform, okay? This is called the iCare platform. That platform allows you as a member to update your details, including your employment history. So wherever you worked, you indicate on the system, from this period to this period I worked for this company. From this period, whether the company was paying to NAPSA or not, it doesn't matter. Just go there and indicate. Once you do that, and then we as NAPSA will be able to follow up that company to make sure that the company remits the due contributions to the member. Thank you.
Oh, okay. Well, the phone lines are open. You can come through on 0961-690487 or 0955-997-997 or 0979-192-485. We're joined in the studio by Mr. Cephas Sinyangwe, the Head of Corporate Affairs at the National Pension Scheme Authority in NAPSA, the institution mandated to administer Zambia's national pension scheme and safeguard the social security interests of workers across the country.
And we actually do have a few comments that have come in during this live stream. One of them is, can one withdraw their 20% partial withdrawal when they have contributed for 50-something contributions?
Okay, maybe before he turns to that question, we do have a caller. Hello, you are live to the Power Breakfast. Good morning.
Morning, how are you?
Well, thank you. How are you doing yourself?
Hello?
Hello, we can get you. Can you get us?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, what's your name and where are you calling us from?
Oh, this is Mubanga. I'm calling you from Sakala.
Okay, Mubanga, go ahead with your comment or question.
It's actually a question.
Yes, go ahead.
Nifuna ufunza nenzosebenza kujawu construction ku Kazungura. Ija company inapanga Kazungura bridge. And so I worked for 2 years. Now, when checking my contribution ya kunapsa na pesa kididi. So for 2 years we were not contributing to NAPSA. So I don't know when Mungantan is because I think the company has also left. It has left Zambia. It's no longer in Zambia, that company.
Okay.
They are constructed. The company that built Kazungura Bridge. So since you are Mungantan is
okay, Zikoma Kwambiri.
Okay, thank you very much for that question, Bambanga. So, you see, it's a sad reality when we talk about you are working for 2 years and you are not checking your account, your NAPSA account, and this is what we are calling on our members. Take interest. Check. You can imagine you have a savings account. You have an account at the bank. And there's money that is supposed to be coming in there, and you are not checking. And then 2 years down the line, you find the company that was supposed to be putting money there has not been putting, and the company is gone. Now, when the company is gone, it becomes very difficult to actually be able to follow up and collect those contributions from that company, right? What our call to our members today is, when you are working, take interest in your account. Make sure your employer is contributing on a monthly basis. And what have we done to collaborate with our members to make sure this is happening? We've brought sub-systems which allow, if you So and you have thousands of companies dotted around, and so it's a collaborative effort between NAPSA and the members to make sure that if you as a member you see that NAPSA has sent you a message that this contribution has not come, if you are still working for that company, make sure you update your status on their care to indicate that you have actually worked for that month that has not come. It then is NAPSA to quickly follow up to make sure that that contribution comes. As much as NAPSA does inspections of companies from time to time, you can imagine that there could be rogue companies which may not provide the full details of all their employees. Especially, this is common in certain sectors. the business. So you want to make sure that we work together, and we should be able to address that issue.
Okay. We do have a caller. Hello, you're to the Power Breakfast. Good morning. Right, Munyema, go ahead with your comment or question.
Yes, madam. I've been working for a certain company, and I've worked for 1 year. They've been giving me contracts for 6 months. And then in all this 1 year, they've never contributed anything to NAPSA. But on the page they've been showing that there was this they are contributing. When I went to...
Hello? Okay.
We're kind of asking if you can move to a place that is a bit quieter.
The child wants to be heard.
As well.
The child wants attention.
I'd like to make a contribution as well. We're kind of asking that you keep your question short as well to accommodate more callers, and also ensure that you are in a place where we can hear you clearly. And if possible, if you are listening to us on the radio or rather on the TV, reduce the volume on your TV or radio set.
Okay.
I could probably try to address the question. It wasn't complete. But it has two aspects to it. There is the issue of casualization probably coming in there, which the Ministry of Labour does not tolerate, where you give short contracts for a job where you know that this person will be needed for a long time. That is called casualization, and the Ministry of Labour frowns upon that. And so if found guilty, that company can be penalized. But that's not our mandate. Our mandate is making sure that we receiving contributions. Now, if this company is not receiving contributions, is not remitting contributions to NAPSA, that's an offense. Okay? We may not have discovered that yet, but this is where we are calling our members. As a member, if the employer is not remitting for you, take that proactive step and report that to NAPSA. You can either report it physically, you go to the NAPSA office and make sure that you are assisted to fill in information to sign up on the IKEA platform so that you fill in your employment history. Then NAPSA will follow up on that company to make sure that it remits the contributions.
Okay.
It doesn't matter whether the company has not been remitting for 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, or 10 years. We will make them contribute. And it's a pity there are companies that are hiding behind certain things and not remitting for their members. But when we come up and find that they are not remitting, we will make them pay up to the last coin of what they owe. Now, that is not good because that comes with penalties. Yes, we have the penalty waiver currently going on, but no employer should take advantage of the penalty waiver because sometimes the penalties could be very punitive.
We do have a call on the line.
Okay, I think
We've lost them.
Yeah, you can call us back on 0979-192485 or 0955-997-997 or 0961-690-487. You can also go through to our social media platform. Hello, good morning. Yes, it's the Power Breakfast. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Who are we speaking to?
I'm speaking to Patrick.
Patrick.
Yes.
All right, Patrick, what's your comment or question? Patrick, we can't hear you clearly. What are you saying? If you're NAPSA mkwai.
Some months so January and December and January. Support notification. Now support support company never.
Okay.
Then 10%.
Okay. Okay, ba Patrick, twatotela sana. Twatash.
Patrick, it's good to hear that he receives the messages when the contribution comes. That's what we would like to hear from every member, because it means we have their phone number and we should be able to communicate with them. So what now the next step, Patrick, you need to do is go onto our online platform there. Okay? It's a very simple platform. It's not very complicated. And for those months that you are saying you haven't received the contribution, you just go and update on your employment history. You will find the question on the months that are missing, the December and January. It will be asking you whether you worked for that period under that company or you didn't work. You just mark to say you worked. Once you say you worked, then us will be able to follow up with the company to say this person worked during this period. We haven't received the contribution, and we'll make the company remit that contribution.
All right. We do have a text message here apologizing. I've been checking time to time on my account, but no money was reflecting in the account. But on my pay slips, it was indicating that they contributed not until I had to stop working. Up to now, there is nothing. What should I do?
Okay, so the payslip was showing that the employer was deducting, and the NAPSA account is empty. So there are two things. It could be that the employer was actually not remitting, but we can't conclude that conclusively. There are times when you find that those contributions could be hanging somewhere for certain reasons, especially where the members' details are not complete on the system. And what we would like to urge that member is to, again, go to our online platform, the iCare, update your employment history, where we put this company, I worked for this company, and from this period to this period, and the contributions are not showing. There is a question on the side there where it will be asking you, did you work or did you not? You just indicate, I worked, and then if the company did not remit, we will make sure that that money is collected on your behalf from that. You don't actually have to go and chase up with them. Just make sure that you update your employment history on the system, and we'll follow up. In case the employer remitted and for some reason the money is sitting somewhere because the information is not up to date, once you update that information, we have a team sitting to make sure that they do all the necessary reconciliations. So the most important step to take here is to make sure that you sign up on the iCare. It's very simple, icare.co.zm, .napsa.co.zm, and you update your employment history. If you need help, you call NAPSA on our toll-free line 677, and you'll be taken through on how to do that, so that you keep your records up to date.
All right. Hello, it's you to the Power Breakfast. Good morning. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, madam.
Good morning, ma'am. How are you, and where are you calling us from?
I'm calling from. This is Mary.
Okay, go ahead, Mrs. Mary. Go ahead with the contribution or question that you have.
In full of Sakala, you have to contribute for 16 months. There's a semantic form of
Mrs. Mary, you are breaking a little bit. I think it might be the network, so kindly move around a little bit.
All right. If you contribute, maybe they can contribute to NAPSA for 16 months.
What's the question again?
Then happen to contribute my money from NAPSA. When I went there to NAPSA to check up my balance, they told me the balance. Then I wanted the 10%. They refused that you want me. We want to give you the 10%. So I don't know the reason why. Because 16 months in Akwan.
Okay. Dear question, Yano? Okay, Zikoma, Mrs. Mary. Okay, maybe before you turn to that question, we can accommodate one more call so that you answer them as a collective. The numbers are 0979192485 or 0955997997 or 0961690487. You can also go through to our social media platform. Hello, see you to the Power Breakfast. Good morning.
Good morning, how are you?
Well, thank you. How are you doing today?
I'm good.
Okay, who are we speaking to?
This is Jackson within Lusaka.
All right, Justin, go ahead with your comment or question.
Yeah, my question is that the last time I was trying to update my details, and this this new platform, NAPSA. I was unable to do that yet. Then the second question is, I want to talk about bus drivers, especially most of the bus drivers. Our bosses don't contribute to NAPSA, so I want him to comment on that one.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much for coming through. Okay, so I think there is one question which was talking about when they can collect the 10%.
The partial withdrawal. Even in the comments, it seems it's a very, very common question.
So maybe let me quickly address the aspect of pre-retirement lump sum benefit. So, or maybe then allow me this quickly also to just speak to the benefits that NAPSA pays, which I spoke to already, the retirement benefit. There is also the invalidity benefit that is paid when a person gets invalid at work. There is also the survivor's benefit, which is paid when a contributing member or pensioner dies, which also comes with a funeral grant. A lot of people don't know about this, but it's open truth that we pay a funeral grant, which is 10 times the minimum pension. Also, when you come to the informal sector, we pay also the retirement, the invalidity, and the survivor's benefits, just like on the main scheme. Of course, the vesting period there only need to contribute up to about 120, as opposed to 180, which is on the main scheme. For the informal sector, we also have other benefits like the maternity benefit for the females, and then we also have the family funeral. If on the main scheme, the funeral grant is paid when a contributing member or pensioner dies, for the informal scheme where you are paying for yourself, this is extended to you, your spouse, and also up to 6 children. And there is also the access to credit, where if you have a small business you are running, you'd like to boost it or something, you are able to go to one of the banks working with the Zambia Industrial Commercial Bank, and you are able to get that support. Now, on the main scheme, there is the famous pre-retirement lump sum benefit, which we introduced in 2023, where you are able to get 20% of your contributions that are sitting on your account. Now, the qualifying criteria for that one is you should either have 60 months on your account, minimum, then you can get 20% of the amount sitting there. Or if you are 45 years, you can get regardless of the number of contributions that are sitting there. Even if you have 40, for example, if you are 45 years and above, you are able to get 20% of the amount sitting on your account. Okay? Now, there is this big question that is being asked about the 10%, and I think there's a confusion between the 10% and the 20% from Mary, who said, I have 60 months, but I went to ask for the 10%, and they said you can't get. If she had asked for the 20%, she would have gotten.
Okay.
Okay? Because that benefit is currently in force. Now, let me address the aspect of the 10%.
Yes.
The 10% has not been introduced yet. It's not yet law. It's a proposal. So, I'd like to ask people to wait until Parliament passes that law. That's when this will come into force. As to when and how and all those aspects, that will be able to be answered at that stage. For now, the 10% is not yet in force. What is in force is the 20% pre-retirement lump sum benefit.
Okay, maybe just quickly to tend to the question of our last caller was talking about how bus drivers don't get...
Yes. So remember what I said, that it doesn't matter in what field you are, whether it's music, someone has a studio, they have employed you, whether it's in transport, you are a bus driver and you are getting paid by the owner of the bus, whichever form of engagement you have, in whichever trade, even a shop owner, if you have a cantemba, you are not selling for yourself. You have employed someone who is selling in your cantemba and you are paying them for that. You have become an employer. You are supposed to register that person with NAPSA and contribute for them. Okay. So SMEs are not excluded. The self-contribution or contribution for on your own is only applicable where you are your own employer and employee. But the moment there is another second, third, fourth person that you are calling your employees, you are supposed to contribute for them. So in this case of bus drivers, there are some bus drivers who own the buses themselves and they're driving themselves. Those we encourage them to contribute for themselves. Okay? Mm-hmm. For those that are employed by the owners of the buses, the owners are supposed to register them with NAPSA. It's an obligation of the employer to register the employee with NAPSA and contribute for them. So in this particular case, what we are saying is, please engage NAPSA and sign up or visit NAPSA and express your issue at any NAPSA office, and you will be guided on how to go about it. Please, do not just sit there and say, no, for us, if we employ Banakana, no, the register, whatever. As long as there is a relationship of, there is an exchange of money, you are providing a service and somebody is paying you for that service. That is an employment arrangement.
Okay. Well, we would love to have this conversation throughout the day. But before we let you go, NAPSA celebrated a huge milestone in 2025. That is, the authority celebrated its 25th anniversary. Tell us about this milestone and what this means for the youth of Zambia.
Thank you very much. 25 years of providing social security services to the country. Huge milestone, but still going. We are still a very young scheme, with only a membership of less than 1.3 million people. The population in this country is over 20 million. The employment age population is over 10 million. So we are looking at a huge population that is not covered. And most of these are youths. Youths that are applying their trade in music, in art, in different areas, making a living out of that. What we are saying is you all have a right to belong to a social security scheme, because there shall come a time when you may not have the energy or opportunity to do what you are doing today. What happens then? Take your time now to contribute to NAPSA. 25 years of bringing tangible national development. You would be interested to note to say that NAPSA is the biggest institutional investor that you have in this country. Talk about in the financial services sector. Maybe you probably are driving today. You maybe, or someone out there went and got a loan from the bank and bought a car. That was facilitated by NAPSA, somehow without you knowing, because NAPSA is making sure that they're providing liquidity to the financial sector, services sector, okay? You look at some of the roads you are driving on, facilitated by NAPSA. The energy, the power, the electricity that you are using, part of it facilitated by NAPSA through investment in power. We've continued to invest even in thermal energy. Very soon we'll be bringing more power, 300 megawatts under the Mamba Phase 2. We are investing in solar. We are upgrading the dual carriageway, the Lusaka and Dora dual carriageway. All these are investments that are coming through because of the contributions that we get from the members. We have to grow these contributions, because remember, for NAPSA, when you contribute, your benefit is guaranteed. It doesn't matter how the economy performs. It doesn't matter the level of inflation. Your benefit is guaranteed in the law. And so we have to make sure that when we collect that 50 kwacha, that 100 kwacha, that 1,000 kwacha, we put this money together, we make it, this is the money we are making available to achieve our mandate of contributing to national development. Today you are speaking about malls, the way a lot of people have trading spaces, they are making money and looking after their families. We are creating employment. We are the biggest player on the Lusaka Securities Exchange. The Lusaka Securities Exchange without NAPSA, I don't know what it will look like, because we have invested in about 16 of the 23 listed companies on the LUSE, providing affordable capital to the Zambian manufacturing companies. And we also are in the hospitality sector with big hotels in Kitwe, Lusaka, Livingstone, supporting the tourism sector. We are applying our efforts almost in every sector you can think about Also, the government is able to provide certain services because of our participation in providing affordable financing through participation in government bonds and treasury bills. And for us as an institution, we are thinking big in terms of making sure that we address some of the biggest bottlenecks that we have as a country to promote manufacturing, to drive mineral value addition. And through this, we create more jobs for the people, for the youths. And through this, when we create more jobs, we create more members for the scheme. These members contribute to the scheme. What happens? We create more resources for further investment. And so, for the youth of this country, the future looks bright in this space. What we are saying is take interest in your pension today. Don't look at pension as a thing for 50-year-olds, or 45-year-olds. When you start working, that's the best time to start saving. That's the best time to get a mortgage, because you will be paying less amounts towards that. Then you lessen your pressure in old age and things like that. And quickly, just to wrap up on my submission, the government is undertaking serious reforms to improve the benefits, to improve the rate at which the benefits grow, to streamline operations and just enhance the efficiency of the scheme. We are looking at coming up with new products where people have been saying, okay, you NAPSA, you have a ceiling. Me, I don't want to contribute at the ceiling. I want to contribute more. So we are coming up with products that will, supplementary savings products that will allow for members who want to contribute a little bit more, and with flexible, very flexible rules where if you want to save for your car, you want to save for school, or you want to save for anything that you would like to, and be able to withdraw at the point that you need the funds. Okay. All these are products that we are looking at, including for those that are living in the diaspora. You find that they are excluded from the current social security system. They come back and there is no social security net that to protect them. So we also coming up proposing products that are supposed to look at the interest of those in the diaspora. Okay. So the future of NAPSA is very bright, and what we are calling our members, know your rights. Number one, social security is your human right. You know what NAPSA is supposed to give you. We're supposed to give you information. We're supposed to give you, you are supposed to know what you're contributing, and you're supposed to know what is in it for you and all that. And we've provided the platform for you. What do you need to do? Simply update your details and sign up on our platforms, and you have access to your account 24/7. And if you have any question, we've provided platforms through which you can get in touch with us. Our contact center has a toll-free line 677, has a WhatsApp line 0973 000 677, where you can send messages if you have a query. We have emails, and we have stations across the country where you can walk in as a member and have your query settled. NAPSA is here for the members, and the members must take interest in this scheme, which is theirs, to see how it is managing their pension.
Okay, and on that note, we'd like to thank you so much for joining us this morning, and hopefully you can have a follow-up interview to touch a number of other issues that we didn't yet quite get into the meat of. So hopefully we can have that set up. But once again, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
We'll be glad to be back here, and whoever has any questions. Also, we have various platforms. There's a lot of information on our Facebook page. Just follow the NAPSA Facebook page. You have the NAPSA WhatsApp group that you can find in the groups. You have our LinkedIn, you have our YouTube, we have our TikTok account, and other socials where we are sharing different information about NAPSA. Take interest. This is your scheme. This is your savings account.